Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. It's Gabby. Today's video is a little bit different, but still special because today I am sharing my labor and delivery story with you guys. Since I did not do a formal labor and delivery vlog this time, I really wanted to focus on just being present in the moment during my labor and deliveries. I did not do a vlog, but you guys still wanted a story time, so I thought it would be fun to do a little get ready with me while I share all of the details. I will have my whole makeup routine linked down below for you guys in case you want to check out any of the products that I'm using today. So grab a coffee or a snack and let's get right into it. I'm pretty sure I have like maybe 15 minutes before the baby wakes up from her nap, or less, because you know, newborn naps are just so unpredictable. But anyways, let's start off with a little bit of the background. So at the end of my pregnancy, I did go for a final growth scan just to like check on baby and make sure everything was good, and they actually caught that I had excess amniotic fluid called polyhydramnios. So the doctors actually did recommend me getting induced because having excess amniotic fluid does put you at risk for cord prolapse, where basically the cord drops down into the birth canal before the baby's head, and that can be really dangerous. Okay, so I actually had like 2 seconds before the baby woke up, and now I have to go get her.
A few moments later.
So I did go ahead with a scheduled induction because obviously like cord prolapse can be pretty scary and pretty dangerous, and I just thought that it would be best for the baby and for myself, for like medical reasons, to do the induction. And I know inductions get bad rep because it can lead to increased chance of C-section and whatnot, but I was actually induced with my first and it went quite smoothly, so I felt quite confident going ahead with this induction as well. So basically on induction day, the hospital phoned and said come in for 10 o'clock. So we went in for that time, and basically what happens is they go in and do a NST, or non-stress test. So they monitor you and the baby, make sure everything is good, and then we waited for the doctor to come in. They did a cervical check just to see if I was dilated at all, and I was not. So we did have to do a round of Cervidil, which is basically like a medication to help ripen the cervix. They would not do a Foley balloon for polyhydramnios because it can cause the baby to like flip in a weird way just because of all the extra fluid in there. So we did do 1 dose of Cervidil, which honestly was kind of one of the most painful parts of the whole birthing experience, which is crazy. But honestly, placing that Cervidil was kind of awful because I wasn't dilated, so they like really had to get it placed, so that was not fun. But so basically after that you have 1 hour of monitoring again on the like NST thing to make sure that baby's still doing okay with the medication. And sometimes they will send you home with Cervidil to start the induction, but because I had polyhydramnios, they didn't want my water to break, and then obviously the cord could prolapse, so they had to admit me so that they could monitor and make sure that they could artificially rupture my membranes, just because it was a little bit safer to make sure that the cord was not going to come down first. But they let us go basically to have some lunch, which was super nice. I didn't have to like stay on bed rest or like stay being monitored, which was really nice. So we ended up grabbing some lunch. I had to stay at the hospital obviously in case like something was weird. My partner actually went to get us some Popeyes for lunch, which is like kind of our tradition now. That's what we had before I was induced with my first baby, so we thought we should get Popeyes to make it a little tradition with our second. But I was having some like weird pains, like it was hurting to walk, like right cramping down the back of my leg into my knee, and it was like quite painful to even try and like walk, which I guess can happen, like cramps and stuff can happen when you're on Cervidil or like using Cervidil for an induction method. So that was like quite alarming, but we did make it down. They told me to go like walk around, do some stairs and stuff. So I did like, I don't know, 4 or 5 sets of stairs before I like just could not function and walk properly. I tried to get things moving that way, but I think the Cervidil actually worked pretty well for me because I definitely started having contractions during lunch. They started getting a little bit more regular every like 7 minutes and whatnot. So we basically ate our lunch while I was having contractions, and then we went back upstairs to check in and get monitored and just like see if they were actually contractions or if it was just like a side effect of the Cervidil. It was about 4 hours with the Cervidil in, and sometimes it takes like, I don't know, it could take days. Sometimes they do a couple rounds, like they don't normally check you until after 12 hours, I think. So 4 hours is pretty impressive. I was shocked that it actually worked and put me into labor quite quickly. So basically after that, they came in and broke my water artificially, and there was so much amniotic fluid this time. Like, it was actually insane how many times they had to change all of my sheets and all of the like hospital gowns and like everything else because there's just like so much water leaking out. It didn't like rupture initially super bad, but after a while, like when I sat up to get my epidural, but after they broke my water, I labored with Pitocin. They put me on Pitocin pretty much right away to like keep my contractions going, but they definitely picked up once my water broke. So they started me only on like the lowest dose of Pitocin you could go, which was nice because it definitely helped ease it in, because I know Pitocin contractions can be quite intense, but for me, like, I had a really good care team, which I'm thankful for, and they only put me on like the lowest dose of Pitocin possible. I also had a doula, and she came about that time where they just broke my water, just after they broke my water actually. I highly recommend having a doula. They are amazing. Basically, it is a support person for you, but they are very well versed in birth. They don't make any medical decisions for you, but it's really nice to kind of bounce ideas and thoughts off of them as well, because they have attended so many births. They kind of know how it goes and like what the procedure is per se, and they also are really great at helping you with maneuvers to move baby down. So basically through like all of the stations, if your baby's sitting super high, they can help you with different positions and different maneuvers to help bring baby down, make your labor a little bit more smooth. Honestly, I totally attribute my easy births to having a doula, because I don't know, I just feel like they are a little bit more knowledgeable in like how to bring baby down and like the exact positions to use, where the nurses, I don't know, I just feel like they kind of guess and, you know, rotate you through positions, but it might not be effective, where a doula, I feel like, knows a little bit more about that specifically. So highly recommend, all that to say, highly recommend a doula. I'm looking into doula services near you, but my doula came, she was honestly great. She helped me again with different positions with the peanut ball. Baby was still sitting super high at like a -3 station, so that's like the highest they can basically be. So she helped me through a lot of different positions with the peanut ball. I labored with Pitocin like naturally without any other like pain intervention for I think like a couple hours. By this time it was almost shift change, so like nurses usually change shifts like at 7, I think, or at least where I am it's like a shift change around 7. So I opted to get the epidural before shift change, just because sometimes with shift change, while like notes are getting relayed and stuff, like it just can result in a delay. So I'm like, I should probably get the epidural before shift change so there's no delay, because they did break my waters and like they were kind of upping my Pitocin just to keep my contractions going, and it was getting kind of painful and just like tiring, and I needed a break. So I had the epidural placed around 6:30, and that's when like a whole bunch of my waters broke and were like gushing out. But the epidural honestly wasn't too bad this time. I think the hardest part honestly was getting through the contractions between like placing the epidural. I always find that super hard because you do have to stay very, very still for that. I feel like I should use this instead. This is not okay. But then after the epidural was placed, I literally had a nap, and that's honestly the best ever, is like a little epidural nap, to be honest. So needed after like laboring. It's hard work. I think we napped for like quite a bit while my partner and my doula both went to get like dinner and stuff. And I feel like this is where things start to get like a little blurry for me, even though I like took notes and tried to like write everything down. It was like 10 o'clock. Basically, we were all just kind of like trying to rest and sleep on and off while the nurses came to check on me and stuff. I declined most of my cervical checks, honestly, because I feel like there's not a ton of reason for it until like the end. So like when you feel like more pressure, kind of like the feeling to poop, that's like when I asked for a cervical check. This eyebrow's going weird. Honestly, I can't remember like a ton after that, other than like the nurses just coming in to monitor me. We're all trying to get rest at this point because it was like 10-11 o'clock at night, so it was pretty late. I think they upped my Pitocin to a level 10 by the end, and then my contractions were getting too strong and too close together, so they did take me off of it for a while. I remember that. So they lowered that dose, which was nice, and kind of like allowed me to rest a little bit more. I do remember with the epidural feeling a lot of pressure still in my right side, like I could feel the contractions and stuff, so that was like kind of odd because I did not have that with my first. I try and keep like the epidural medicine as low as possible, just because like I don't love having the shakes, because sometimes that is like a side effect of having the epidurals, like you get the shakes and uncontrollable shakes. I don't like that feeling. So I remember like trying to keep it as low as possible but having that pain still. But not too much later, I definitely was feeling the pressure, so I got a cervical check and the baby's head was nice and low. They asked me if I like wanted to start pushing and stuff, but I declined because I feel like it just wasn't ready. Like I didn't have that urge to push. Like I really wanted to wait for the urge to push. So I think we sat for another hour just kind of like waiting for, I don't know, that feeling. But then I was like, okay, like let's just do some practice pushes. Let's just see how it goes, like where baby is and stuff. We did like one practice push and her head was like already right there. So they're like, okay, let's maybe stop. We have to wait for the doctor. So I remember like waiting not quite a while, but it seemed like quite a while. Like it was probably like 15-20 minutes, but it seems like forever when you're like, oh, okay, like the baby's there, like I feel the urge to push now, like I need to push now. I think, yeah, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the doctor finally arrived, and I think I had like maybe 4 or 5 more pushes. Like I literally pushed for 10 minutes and the baby was out, which was crazy. So I do pride myself a little bit on my pushing skills, because I only pushed for half an hour with my first and like 10 minutes with the second, and I did not tear, which was amazing. Definitely helpful for recovery when you don't tear. But honestly, my doula was amazing, helping me push and just like encouraging me. But that is pretty much the whole entire birth story. I do want to add, like I definitely felt like I was anxious that I was going to stall more in labor. Like that was kind of happening with my first, is that he kind of stalled and wasn't moving down, and his heart rate was like kind of going high. So I was really worried about that with my second, but honestly that did not happen, which I'm so thankful for. Really feel like my team was fantastic and really helped me progress nicely through labor and delivery. But yeah, that is pretty much my whole entire labor delivery story. I feel like it's not like that exciting. It didn't have any like crazy things happen during labor and delivery. Like it wasn't a crazy story like driving through a storm at night and delivering almost in the car and barely making it to the hospital kind of thing. No, but I do feel like it's important to share the induction part of it, because I know inductions can be scary and they get a lot of bad rep, and a lot of people are scared to have an induction or have Pitocin. But I just wanted to share my positive birth story with you guys, because I feel like those are also important and also helpful to know about if you are like researching birth stories. Just know that they aren't all bad. So I know it can be hard to stay off the internet in those last few weeks, like looking up like birth stories and like hearing other people's birth stories, but hopefully that this birth story helped you with the positive side of things. And I feel like that is something I really tried to keep in mind too going into my induction, just keeping a positive mindset and, you know, trusting my body and using those affirmations that, you know, my body knows what to do. I've been induced before, it was successful. This time is going to be successful because I've already done it. So I feel like that was also really helpful. And then for me to progress like kind of naturally before the epidural, I think it was like actually Jen Affleck from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, if you guys watch that show or follow them on social media, she had her baby a couple weeks before me, and I think the affirmation that she shared is like, or like something that she shared on social media was, the nurses told her, you have to go to the stars to get your baby and bring them back. And I feel like that really resonated with me for some reason. I don't know why, but I like kept that motto to get through every little contraction, because they can be quite painful when you are getting induced, because it's like 0 to 100 sometimes, since it's not like gradual and like a natural type of ease into labor, I would say. But that I feel like really helps. So find some affirmations I feel like that kind of resonate with you. I didn't love that with my first, but I feel like this time around it was really helpful just to have like a few like positive things going on in my brain. And that is the final makeup look. So great timing with this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hearing about my labor and delivery story. I'm sorry it's not too exciting, but if you are getting induced or having a baby soon, then I wish you all the best, and hope that it goes smoothly for you. Hopefully this birth story gives you some positive light into what that birth could look like. And yeah, I know everyone's birth is so different, but I hope my story inspires somebody or helps somebody out there. So thanks so much for watching. If you guys made it all the way to the end, then give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye friends.